Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Orb, episode 4, and Rafal is no more. The saddest part of Orb about the movements of the Earth was when young Master Orb said, "It's Orbin time!" and everybody else said, "No, it's not Orbin time," and it wasn't. Rafal is gone. But his ideas remain. His thoughts, his notes, his great work is passed down. Like an ember on the wind, adrift from a wildfire that has now gone out and yet still floating, still burning, it drifts upon the winds of time, and at some point it will land upon somebody, and perhaps it will find welcoming kindling to set ablaze once more and carry that same flame onward into the future. Or maybe it will take more time than that. Maybe the ember will be passed on piece by piece, year by year, by generation, and only in the distant future will it find welcoming fuel to burn. Right now might not be the time for heliocentrism. It may need a different era, a different generation. But it is up to the people of this generation, the ones we saw at the end of the episode marching up the hill at sword point, and discovering this cache of taboo ideas. It is in their hands now. It is up to them. What they do with what has been given to them, with what has been passed down, with the path that has already been cleared for them, whether they choose to embark upon it and push it further, to carve further into the darkness of the wilderness of the unknown, and push humanity's safe roads a little bit further, is up to them. It's up to who they are, what their circumstances are, and what they believe in. But I feel that somehow they will be compelled by the ideas in that box. Compelled to change the world. To die before your work is complete, to know that you are going into your death, and yet to do what you can to make sure that the work is passed on, potentially to one who might pick up the mantle and carry on after you, is a powerful testament to the importance of ideas. Rafal as a person was pitch perfect individualist focused on himself. And over the course of 3 episodes, he was converted into a martyr for an idea. I don't think that there's a stronger way that a show has ever demonstrated to me that it is not about its characters, that this show is not about a person, that it is not about an individual, but about people broad scale, that it is not about one thought, but about all the ideas that come from that it is about ideas themselves, that it is about the human ability to pass those ideas and expound upon them, expand upon them, and make them bloom. But it takes time. And it takes effort. And sometimes it takes more time and more effort than we, in our smallness, in our finitude, in our tiny, infantile, ant-like lifespans, can manage. After all, we're grappling with the universe, trying to comprehend all of reality all at once. That's the idea, is that it could all be placed into some kind of harmonious motion. A task like that is too big for any one person. So how do we possibly overcome it? How can you overcome something that is so much greater than any one of us individually, or many of us working together at the same time? We work across time. We pass what we can down and hope, without knowing, hope that that's enough. Hope that where our embers land, they will burn on. Hope that our fuel was not burned up in vain, and that by passing it down as best as we can without knowledge of the future, we can alter the course of everyone's lives, of all of human civilization. I want to take a little detour to talk about what we experienced yesterday in Freeren. In Freeren, last episode, episode 2 of season 2, we were introduced to a hero before the hero. I'm not going to spoil big Frieren stuff. In some sense, I might spoil the core of that particular episode, but it's just a poignant note that fits with the rest of the themes of Frieren, and I think fits really perfectly with the ideas of Orb, especially right where we are with Rafal's death and loss and passing on. In the story of Frieren's episode, we come across a statue of a man who is the hero of the South, and we've been very familiar with the main hero of the story, Himmel, who saved the world and defeated the Demon King and who is a member of Frieren's party and who our whole journey is kind of about. But we come across this statue of this other guy who we've never seen before. He's got a magnificent mustache and some cool swords, but he's unknown to us. His legend has not passed on to the collective. The whole world does not know his name the way that they do Himmel's. But Frieren met him as well once. Many years before she met Himmel, he came and spoke to her in her forest. He asked her to join him, and then revealed to her his great secret. He, and he alone, had the power to see the future, and it's unclear quite how powerful this is. But after going through some of the lines of the dialogue, it seems like he was perfectly capable of seeing many, if not all, of the outcomes of many different possibilities stretching on into the future. He asks Frieren to join him to head north to battle the Demon King and his servants, and she refuses. So he tells her, one day, another hero will appear. And when he does, I want you to tell him this: I will clear a path for you. And then he sets off, the hero of the South, on his journey. And with his foresight, he knows what is to befall him. He fights against all of the Demon King's great servants, including one who matches him in his ability to see the future. And he dies. He slays many of them, multiple of them, including the greatest of them, the future-seeing one, who, it is implied, would be an unsurpassable obstacle for the next party to come along, the hero that he has foretold. It's implied that they would not have succeeded were it not for him. He fights them, and he fails. He dies. He doesn't kill them all, doesn't kill all of the saints of badness. He doesn't kill the Demon King. He dies. And for the most part, he is forgotten. But not in this one town that they've come to, where his statue is still cherished. And not to the hero who came after him, who heard those words, and his mind was somehow changed by them. By the idea that someone knowingly had gone before into his certain and inevitable doom in order to push just a little bit further to make his journey, I'm choking up, to make his journey just a little bit easier. To get us one bit further, one bit brighter, one more plank in the bridge that stretches out over the waters to infinity. One more step. A step that he knew would be his last. And yet knowing it meant his own death, and yet knowing it meant the survival of the human race, he went off into the north to fight and to die. Do you see why I brought this up here in Orb? It's happened twice in Orb so far. First, Hubert passes his information, his necklace, his fear, and in some ways passes his own fate, his own death on to Rafal. But he does it believing, he does it knowing that doing this will push the idea further. He asks Rafal to burn his works because he can't get rid of them. But I have to believe that Hubert, knowing his own death was coming, hoped beyond hope that Rafal would do as he actually has done, that he would take up the reins, take up the mantle, that the ember would find kindling and Rafal's heart would be lit aflame. And in flames it was. Now Rafal has done the same. He packaged up his ideas, he wrote his final letter, and he placed them in the box, and then went knowingly to his death. a failure, right? If the story ended there, it would be. The church wins, heliocentrism is squashed, victory and defeat for Rafal, for heliocentrism, for truth, for the beautiful thing that he talked about to Novak. But the story doesn't end there. Stories don't really end when they end. It's a strange construction that we have about stories, right? The prince and the princess defeat a dragon and then get married and live happily ever after. But what happens in that happily ever after? What happens after the last page of the book closes? Maybe the person goes on, but they die, and then what? Time doesn't end. The world doesn't suddenly cease because their story has ended. To the people involved in Rafal's life, to Novak, to Potocki, to Rafal himself, that story has ended, but when that volume closes, another opens. And that's where we're going now. Into the future, into the unknown, into the next story. One that has to be built off of the previous story because the world operates in time. It operates in a series. And when you take that sort of a view, when you view things not as individual events, but as a part of a series of events that stretches onward into infinity, nothing really ends. Nothing's really over. Nothing is really dead. Everything becomes something else. Everything changes. Everything is alchemized. Everything metamorphoses. Everything cools. Everything hardens. Everything burns. Everything changes. The world goes on. And that gives me hope. Yeah. I think the most useful, straightforward, direct context where it gives me hope is when I think of it the way that I think of my drawings. Every time I sit down to record, I draw something, and 9 times out of 10, I'm a little bit disappointed with what I've drawn. At least a little bit. Sometimes I'm really, really angry about it. Sometimes I'm super excited, and it's like, fuck, that's good, amazing, holy shit. But most of the time, I'm a little bit disappointed in it. It's not what I wanted it to be, right? And that can eat you up. It can tear you up if your attempts at whatever in the world don't manifest the way that you expect them to, the way that you want them to. Because when you set out to draw, there's this image in your mind that's like the perfect thing and it's amazing, and the actual execution of it is always lacking. And if each drawing were in isolation, each of those disappointments might weigh on me so heavily that I am crushed under their weight. Each failure might tear me apart a little bit further. But instead, I look at them as a time series. It's a graph. It goes on. Each one is just a point on a curve, and the curve is all up and down and all over the place, but if we zoom way out, it charts its way upward, and I can be content with that. I can be happy with that. When I take that idea and then extend it out to my daily life, it's like, well, you lived this day and you didn't really do the stuff you were supposed to, and you kind of feel shit about it. Failure. And I'm a failure. And I'm always going to be a failure. Wait. But that's just today. Today's just one point on a curve. And the curve goes up and down. But if I take a long view of it, can I orient myself so that curve is going upward so that tomorrow is a little bit better? Maybe. And in that, there is hope. For our characters in this show, the passing of information isn't day by day or drawing by drawing, but seems to be generation by generation, population by population. But the idea is the same. What you cannot finish, what you cannot accomplish, what is inevitably failure in your lifespan might not be in the long run. It might be the foundations of a great work. You don't need to finish the thing. In fact, finishing things is over-fucking rated. Starting things and passing them on, creating something that can be built upon later by somebody in the future. And I'm not sure what that looks like for me exactly. I've got something that I'm building on for myself, but passing that on into the future and making it sort of infinitely build uponable, that's tough to grapple with. I don't have a particular answer for it, but I'm now seeking for it because I think it would be important. But laying the foundations, planting trees under the shade of which you will never sit is the classic how generations can pass things down to the future sort of line. I think there might be few more noble things, if any, than to put effort into the system that you won't receive yourself and won't even be experienced by you in your lifespan. Can there be a more effective form of sacrifice? A more human form? I don't know. But I am compelled by this idea. Compelled to create, compelled to seek out a place where I might lay foundations that could build into something really beautiful. And again, I'm not sure what that is, but I am now looking for that. Let me draw something. Cool. I am not disappointed in this one. I think it's pretty neat, honestly. My initial intent was a torch, and I was just going to design it to look like a torch, but then it became kind of a chalice, and I was like, well, that's interesting. Maybe it's a flaming chalice. That seems cool. And then I drew the stem of it, and I was like, wow, that's a really thin stem. Ooh, stem. Maybe it's a plant. Now it's a plant. And then it has roots and little flowers that are blooming, and up here is a goblet of fire. Please don't sue me, JK. This is cool. I looked up what other people do to make fire out of pens, and I just chose one style and tried to mimic it. Because I don't really have a style for that. I don't understand it. I do think that this centerpiece looks a little scribbly, a little childish, but the rest of it all sort of blends together and tricks my mind to think like, yep, that's fire. That's cool. I like it. I'm really happy with this drawing, honestly. I think it's neat. It hits a level of like unconscious symbolism and stuff where I wasn't really setting out to accomplish something in particular, but end up almost coming up with the idea of what it is after the hand moves, if that makes sense. Yeah. Cool. The burning torch is a planted seed that is growing and is also there's something about passing a cup to somebody that echoes as well. Maybe it's just the religious significance, chalice, grail stuff, but it's like the burning liquid of life passed down to you by the previous generation, growing up from the roots of the seed that were planted, waiting to be sipped from and embed its fire within your heart. Something like that. Total nonsense, but it makes perfect fucking sense to me, if that makes sense. All right, welcome back. Let's go ahead and watch Orb episode 4 and time jump 10 years into the future and find out what's changed. We're definitely gonna meet a ponytail boy who was driven at sword point up here to the mountain. We don't know who he is, what his whole deal is, how he got involved in this crazy shit, and he doesn't seem willing. He does not seem to want to be involved in this crazy shit, so I'm curious whether he's even the core character that we're going to be focusing on, or if he's just a waypoint for these documents to travel through. I don't know. I'm also deeply curious who out of the known characters that we've met already in the course of Orb is still alive. My first thought was that this ponytail guy would be the dumb kid that Rafal made fun of for not being smart enough a couple times, but I don't think that's the case. I don't actually think that's the case. However, is Potocki still around? How's he doing? Is Novak still around? How's he doing? Is Novak's daughter still around? How's she doing? And is she cute? But truly, we're jumping a lot through time, and I don't know what has changed. I'm really curious to find out. Let's watch the episode and get to it. I've got episode 4 of Orb on the Movements of the Earth up and ready to go. We're using the same version as before. It's Tenrai Sensei. We're going to watch it. There'll be 2 versions, picture-in-picture in the description, timer on YouTube, early access on Patreon, subscribe while you're down there, and beep beep timer. Let's go. Okay, I got 2 seconds in, and then my friend called me. I helped him inflate his tire. His tire had a leak earlier, and I happened to have a tire inflator. So I helped him inflate it earlier so that he could drive it to a tire shop and get it fixed. And he just called me to be like, it's all fine, thanks. But it was literally 2 seconds into the recording. Okay, beep beep timer. And that's as far as I got. Okay. This must be that guy. What's going wrong? Oh. They're holding up trays to catch what's being thrown, but there's a cruelty happening here. Were they dumping shit? Were they dumping... I don't know. That's why it's ugly? Facing away is really interesting. Oh. This is hell? So all things fall here. That's such a bad answer. Maybe they are falling. Yeah, because you don't actually know shit, dude! You don't know shit! We are separate. Keep your eyes lower. Oh, and now he is older. Oh, making notes about the stars. Meh. Is that the guy who... I think it is. Huh. How did we get from here to where we're going to end up? With your eyes? He's got really good eyes. He's a monk? Or similar? We've also switched to dueling swords. I wonder if everybody's carrying dueling swords. Oh. Oh, our chapter. We are what? Whoa, it's his eyes! Whoa! Oh, when it's Rafal in front of the stars, will that be him too? What are we doing? Okay. The eyeball now has more meaning because he seems to be interrelated with eyes somehow. I wonder if maybe we'll meet somebody who will contribute telescopes, and somebody who will contribute something else, and somebody who will contribute something else. Oh, that's him. Oh, and they're traveling together. I didn't clock that. I thought they were a separate generation. The level of chills that I just got from the OP is another level, a new level. What the fuck? Okay, what are we doing here? Tanomu. Oh. Okay. Citizen Watch is dueling him? Why, though? What did this guy do? Like, what? First Blood. Yeah, this is real, dude. He's very cool, calm, collected. Ah. Well, he's a vampire, so you weren't gonna kill him anyway. Cool. You just tried to take Google to court, dude. You fucked up. Yes. Shit. No, you don't. Oh, a sword breaker, quote, quote. Big air quotes on the sword breaker. That actually, to parry and take the blade, is closer to what it would actually have been used for. Oh, shit. They don't care, man. No, dude. You're just a job. It's not murder. It's sanctioned. It's legal. Well, so don't. Yeah. Fuck, the sadness in his eyes, man. This is the world we live in. It's an ugly, cruel world. We're at the bottom of the universe. This is just how it is, man. Burn in hell. Oh, nice curse. Too late, bud. I'm already there. He doesn't even need to say it, does he? Gosh, the dark circles, man. This guy is haunted. Yeah, you are good at this. But is this what I'm here for? He reminds me of a JoJo's character. That's death, man. Mm. So he's in that desperate seeking. Oh? It's inappropriate, too. Hmm. But it doesn't really land super hard. He's faking it. He's still totally torn up. He's asking for it. It's a very dangerous feeling, though. Actually, this framing feels like Novak and Rafal. What's up, Thorfinn? Nice to see you again. We talked a little bit about the fatalism and death cultiness of the religion. Holy shit. Maybe you shouldn't have said all of that. That's one way to put it. I don't think that's what he said, though. And then I got laid. Is it the box? Is it the box? Okay, then. Hitogoroshi. Somebody's dying tonight. Uh-oh. Now you're just annoying, jeez. Oh no! I relate, but I understand, man, but no. Oh no! I don't even know how to wrap my head around this character, man. Well, that's darkness. It's got an astrolabe on the front. Aww. Yeah, maybe we back up a little bit. So they're planets. They're stars. Cool image. Like a long exposure. One of them doesn't twinkle and it moves. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We haven't observed Venus yet, right? Or have we? Nothing in perfect circles. Hmm. It's so far away, and yet... Position to see the universe. You're in danger, dude. You are in danger, and you're speaking this out loud. It's not... Oh, somebody's listening. Fuck. That guy. Yep. Obviously, we all know what's really going on. So how are we gonna get the necklace, and how are we gonna find the box? Have fun, idiots. Would have noticed what sooner? He's desperate for it to be a perfect circle, but it's not. Wait, from our perspective, what makes it appear to not be moving? It has to do with the intersection of our orbits somehow, but I don't understand how. Hmm. God fucking damn, these guys are scary. It's just a day at the job, man. Just a day at the office. And yet he still has this attitude. He found a hope, and now he's lost it. Ah. Is it enough to inspire him, though? It might be. Opa. Uh-oh. It bent? Oh, the curve? I can't math it in my brain. Oh, poor guy. A transcendent symbol from his family amounts to nothing. Oh. And we're back there. That's beautiful. Tonight's the night. So he's acting like he's given up. Transporting. Hi, Damian. Who's our heretic? Hello. Creepy looking old man. Ooh, there's beardy hair guy. That's Novak! Holy shit! It took me like 3 seconds. Oh my god, I still got the blood on his fucking hands. God. Similar position, like they're killers. Novak's a killer by charge, right? You're gonna be dead, dude, so it's fine. He's got the necklace. Is he Potocki? No. Who are you? Hmm. Oh. You just did. You dingus. Yeah, what are you gonna do to me, man? I'm already on my way to my torturous death. He's gonna say something that resonates. Oh, those are the same lines. But your soul can still be saved. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. You're not allowed to ask that, man. That is exactly what both of them have done. Huh. Yeah, you're just trying to mess with us. Do one more evil before you die. The despair is fucking there, man. It's in both of you. That's a good line. You run from it. Oh, this is a really clever framing. What is your name, old man? We're not allowed to kill him. You are me. You are me. Yeah. No, it's empty, man. Isn't that what you know? You've seen so many die. Yes. Like a monster. Can't even open your eyes to the beauty in front of you. Yes. Yes, I do want to believe that. As ugly as it is, yes, I do. We should push it away, push it away, push it away, push it away. Shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. Who the fuck is this guy? You've been given an open door to heaven. It's what he's been searching for the whole time since his family died. Holy shit. Tanomu. They gonna jump out the fucking carriage? Shit. Fuck. Oh, wait, what? Who are you? Who are you? Wait, what? Wait, 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 wait. What? So there we go. I was thinking one of them looked like a smaller person. Okay. So we have the tonsured scarred monk, we have Oczy, and we have girl. Novak's daughter. I assume. That's right? Right? Has to be. Now it's him looking up. Okay. Tough spot, because there's a lot to talk about in this episode with the introduction of new characters and stuff, but we also don't get up to the point where I wanted to get, so I'm kind of torn, because I'm not sure whether I want to watch the next episode right now immediately, or if we just focus in on trying to figure out sort of the background, the foundations, if you will, of these two characters and the decision that they eventually make, that Grass eventually makes for us. I gotta find his name. How do we say this name? Oczy. Okay, OxyClean. This is OxyClean, and he lives in a very dirty world. Trying to wrap my head around his sort of trudging forward, existing without hope, almost zombie-like way that he moves through the world in these first scenes, before anything starts to change, before anything becomes interesting to him. There's a sense of just deep melancholy in him, as though it's all hopeless, as though it's all meaningless, as though it doesn't fucking matter. And then we find him in this position of essentially an executioner, right? He's a sport duelist who is hired by the wealthy to take their like punishments for them and to kill people on their behalf so that they don't have to risk themselves. I said while it was happening that it's like you challenged Google's lawyers and now you're fucked, right? That's not the move to make. He's contributing to the ability of the nobility to avoid any kind of repercussion for social slights. And that means that he's a cog in a machine that's doing a thing that's clearly bad. That's like not good, but is sanctioned, but is allowable, and is socially disliked, right? People say those are murderers. They translated the line as those guys are assassins, but what they say is those are hitogoroshi. Those are murderers. Those are people killers. Those are man killers over there. That's what they do. So I'm most familiar with dueling culture in Italy. The Italian city-state period was rife with like very high individualism and weird fashion, and lots of young men carrying steel looking to prove themselves. And the like rumors or historical idea is that this was a place where if you said something wrong to somebody, you might be challenged to a duel, and then your honor is at stake and you're expected to go and fight to the death, with seconds and all that jazz. I didn't realize that was in Poland as well. Looking it up, it does seem to have been in the 17th century and onward. There was a Sarmatism or Sarmatianism, was a cultural and social ideology prioritizing honor and bravery and dueling. And mostly it was the noble class who engaged in it, but I can see a space where you'd use basically peasants who are good fighters and pay them effectively a pittance in comparison to take the blows for you and deal with the dirty work so that you, fat count that you are, don't have to go and challenge somebody to a swords duel. Because otherwise, there'd be the ability for this to actually upset the social order, and we can't have that. We can give lip service to the idea of individual honor and responsibility and stuff, but if you're actually going to use that to kill somebody above your station, they're just going to hire somebody instead. Damn. That puts another nail in the coffin, though, of hope. Now you're the arm of something, or a cog in this machine, and like you're not even fighting for yourself. You're just putting your life on the line because it's not actually worth anything over and over. Ugh. Bad way to live. And the foundations of that way to live are in the ideology. Its basis is in this ugly world, this dirty place, this disgusting thing. So we open with a moment of the transcendental, a moment of youth where he's looking up to the sky and actually seeing it and feeling it, and he feels like it's beautiful, it's always beautiful. So why? And then it fades, it falls as he turns his attention to what's happening in front of him, and his eyes droop and the dark circles appear, and this is the place that he's been in for the rest of his life. This is how we meet him. His hair has changed, his body has grown, but his mind is locked into this place. And everything, it seems like everything he's seen past here is just proof of it, proof of it, proof of it. So they're dumping, it looks like shit. I don't really know. Why are the people catching it as though it's precious? Yeah? Maybe it's slop food also? That's the other option that I could think of. And then you've got nobles looking over, fanning, covering their mouths and laughing and looking down with a laugh in their eyes with like a contempt for the masses. And I wonder what is actually going on here. And all that laughing takes him right back to this ephemeral scene that's pulled out of time for him, right? In the way that if you look back at some of your memories, really impactful emotional memories, they might not be in the location where they happened. You might be having a conversation with a parent who, a parent got angry at you and it really impacted you. And that scene might happen in a blank void or a space of darkness or atop a mountain or any number of things that weren't actually the scene, because the emotional weight of the scene, that memory is different. So we end up in this ethereal place as though we're really speaking in the space of gods and deities. And there's this enormous pillar that goes up to the sky, and there's this monk who speaks to him with authority, but never turns and looks at him. That disconnect feels palpable to me. It's like, this isn't the answer that you're seeking. It's just the one that we have. It's like said by rote. It doesn't care about him. I don't know. Why must our world be an ugly place? And then an answer comes, and it's like it's the voice of God, or the closest thing that we have in this world is somebody speaking for God, right? Why is it so ugly here? Because this is the center. Well, wouldn't that make it special? No, not at all. It's interesting. It's a set of what I see as mental gymnastics to make this make sense. In a way, it almost brushes up against the really big God question, I think, which is like, why is there suffering if God's all-powerful? Why that? And so we frame it as like a challenge, a test, a proving ground, or a place that, through its darkness, demonstrates more clearly the light of heaven, something like that. To be at the center is to be at the bottom. Everything falls, and that's because the center of the earth is the bottom, the lowest point. That's how God created things. It's just the way it is. But why? To remind us that humankind is helpless and sinful. I said when he said this that this is a very bad answer. I think it's a terrible answer. Like, so deeply terrible. What sort of parent would do such a thing? No, if you frame it a different way, if you say like, why make the world so terrible? Oh, so that humanity might strive to live beyond it, like, so that we might be tempted and choose God instead, right? That's a different formulation that I think is way stronger. It's like, well, it's a test. It's a test, right? This place is full of corruption to see if you will be corrupted. The whole point is to fight against that. That's like a great answer within the framing, and I think it all works. But instead, this negative answer that he gives is so deflating. It's so deflating. Like, there's no hope to it at all. There's no point to it at all. It means that everything here is dirt and shit and meaningless. And Oczy doesn't seem to be able to stomach that. He hopes. And the heretic at the end calls that out. You are like me. You hope that this is true. You believe that it must be. The sky is so beautiful because you are gazing at it from this corrupt realm. The hot tub looks warm because you're in the cold pool. And so it's that contrast. That's why God has put us in essentially a hell analog? Sure, man. Okay, well, if it is at the bottom, then why don't the stars fall from the sky? I don't know. Fair enough. At least this monk character is willing to say, I don't know, to that. To the, one of the many things that pokes a hole in his reasoning. But he's not willing to say that beforehand, right? To say that about the whole set of reasons and justifications and stuff that he's created. Those are all true. Those don't come from a place of I don't know. Oh, wait, yes, they fucking do. The way this conversation should have gone is like this. Why must our world be an ugly place? I don't know. We humans can only comprehend the realm in which we live. Right? Like, that would be a fine answer. I don't know. But even then, if this world is the ugly place, and your I don't know was about that, that is the realm that we inhabit, and we could try to fucking comprehend it. We could try to understand why there's so much suffering and evil and death and shit and dirt here. Yeah? But not if we don't admit that we don't know. If we pretend like we already have the answer to that part and only admit the I don't knows to the parts that, that would poke holes in it, that's fucking stupid. So we must ever gaze to the heavens, for they are sublime, solemn, sacred, and sweeping. They do not mingle with the lowly earth. They are separate from us. All was separate. And again, I'm reminded of, tall poppy syndrome. Don't grow too high. Don't reach for the stars. Don't even look at them. Keep your eyes on the dirt. Peasant. This image of the heavens looking down upon us is very strange. I hope that we get more context for it. I hope that it's built up into a bigger symbol, because it's a curious one to me. And that brings us to here, and it's those same sad eyes that look out and see this world, and they see it without the hope that Grass currently sees. He's taking his observations. The stars are so beautiful, it never fails to amaze me. Every evening, they share their splendor with us. Don't you ever look? And he says, with your eyes, I'm sure the stars are quite vivid. So they've been working together for a little while, and he has realized that Oczy has really good eyes. That's very interesting. And something that Raphael had too, right? Is this perceptive ability, the ability to see. In this case, it's literally to see the stars, literally to see where they're at and plot them and stuff. But there's something more to it, I think. Better eyes means more perceptive in general, means seeing through the veil a little bit. The things that are blurry to other people might be crystal clear to you, metaphorically and literally. And that, I think, changes the way that you perceive reality. I actually think that the degree to which you see clearly dramatically changes your cognition. Makes sense, right? Because you operate in a completely different world at a different scale than other people do. Your capacity to see things at the very fine scale is much higher. And so the world is significantly more detailed to people with great vision than it is to people without it. I speak from the experience without experience. My vision hasn't failed, so I haven't experienced both sides of this. But I have 2010. Is it 1020 or 2010? I haven't actually had a vision test in a while, but I haven't noticed any loss in clarity over the last few years. Last time I was tested, 2010 vision, which means that you can see details that A normal person can just make out at 10 feet at about 20 feet away. And that's matched up to my life. People are frequently surprised when we're like driving around and I point out a street sign that's a couple blocks away and I can read it. Or I read very fine print or things like that. It's just a part of my experience of reality, right? So I don't have a compare contrast with other people's experience of reality, but I imagine that it would be less detailed, right? It would be fuzzier, a little bit different. And I wonder, because I can't know, I wonder how much being able to see at that level of acuity has changed my ability to think, has literally changed the world that I operate in because I see it slightly clearer. I don't know. There are downsides. My eyes are highly light sensitive and I get absolutely blasted by sunlight. If I go out in a region that has like lots of concrete sidewalks and white houses, I'm blind. I have to close my eyes. I have to wear sunglasses or something like that. And that's the downside of having light colored eyes and high visual acuity. But it's a trade-off, and I've never experienced any other form of being able to see. Like, I don't even think of it as a gift. I know that it is a blessing. I know that it's like a great. I definitely wouldn't trade it for the opposite, but it's just how I see the world. It's just the world that presents itself to me. That's an interesting thing, that people see completely different worlds depending on how their biology works, how their body is orchestrated. It's very interesting. So Oczy has this sight, this clarity of sight, and I wonder if that will be a connecting through line between all of our core characters, that they have this ability to see that's literal, see the stars more clearly, but also a little bit metaphorical, to see beyond the parts of reality that are kind of blurry and fuzzy, where people just have these kind of vague explanations for things, and there's a perceptiveness, a desire to perceive through that veil. Do you ever look up at the sky? No. I don't like to gaze at it. Why? It gives him hope. And it reminds him of the hopelessness. Gosh, an internal idea framing that takes beauty and turns it into a thing that you can't even look at because it makes you sad. That's a bad idea. That's an anti-human idea. I'm going to detour for just a second, because somebody posted a really great comment that was a quote on the previous episode. And I thought about talking about it in the intro here, but it's become relevant now. Yeah, Bloodsplash3590 wrote, this is Kimlock from the Bone Hunters. Don't know what that is, but it's a great freaking quote. There is something profoundly cynical, my friends, in the notion of paradise after death. The lure is evasion. The promise is excusative. One need not accept responsibility for the world as it is, and by extension, one need do nothing about it. To strive for change, for true goodness in this mortal world, one must acknowledge and accept within one's own soul that this mortal reality has purpose in itself, that its greatest value is not for us, but for our children and their children. To view life as but a quick passage along a foul, tortured path, made foul and tortured by our own indifference, is to excuse all manner of misery and depravity, and to exact cruel punishment upon the innocent lives to come. I defy this notion of paradise beyond the gates of bone. If the soul truly survives the passage, then it behooves us, each of us, my friends, to nurture a faith in similitude. What awaits us is a reflection of what we leave behind, and in the squandering of our mortal existence, we surrender the opportunity to learn the ways of goodness, the practice of sympathy, empathy, compassion, and healing, all passed by in our rush to achieve at a place of glory and beauty, a place we did not earn and most certainly do not deserve. Made foul and tortured by our own indifference. What awaits us is a reflection of what we leave behind. And if there is no gate of bone, if there is no soul in the first place, if there is no heaven beyond the void of the stars, because it's not a tapestry or a painting or pinholes of light in the firmament, those are orbs of light floating bajillions of miles away in a real void. Nowhere in that void have we found anything that looks like hell or heaven. only emptiness and burning and rocks. So all there really is to wait for us is a reflection of what we leave behind, because it is what we leave behind, you know? But we risk passing by all of the opportunities to learn in a rush to arrive at the end. Because this place doesn't matter, and what we do in it doesn't matter, even if it's evil, even if it's destructive. Doesn't matter, we're not responsible for it. The ugliness of the world is responsible for its own ugliness, and we're just bound to it. I can feel myself just saying the words, not even believing them, kind of being like cynical and just presenting this idea in order to tear it apart, in order to leave it behind. I find my own eyes kind of drooping and my own countenance falling and my own feeling in my heart like, ugh, I don't want to be in that. Blah. But if we do what the episode does, and we switch this script, flip this table, and say, what if this real world is heaven? What if this real world is where paradise emerges? What if reality is more beautiful by far than that fiction could ever be? Then we have to open ourselves to the responsibility of the future, to bearing that weight, to the idea that what we do here on this earth matters because it manifests heaven or hell tomorrow, next year, immediately. And even our perspective on it changes everything, changes just to believe that there's hope in this world, that there's beauty in it, is enough for someone like Grass who's lost everything to find transcendence, to find power. And that power that he is lost in is not quite the power of heaven beyond. It's that he thinks there are connections still to the past. There's beauty here now. And then when we actually collide with the heretic, he catalyzes all of that. Okay, let's continue through the episode. It's really strange knowing that Grass is going to be having him at sword point in a little while, and having him be kind of a cool guy, trying to help his friend a little bit, sort of, hey man, you got to cheer up, things aren't all that bad. We do weird work, but it's all good. I like him. He reminds me of a few characters from literature in various thieves guilds and similar sorts of things. I like him. Let's celebrate. Now then, to work. Okay. Stunning. So simple. Just swap the face. I asked before, they put all this effort into putting Rafal throughout the OP and ED. What are we going to do about that? Well, we're just going to change it. We take somebody else and put him in Rafal's place. There you go. And it's his eyes piercing through ours now. Holy shit. That's Novak. I didn't clock that at all. I didn't get it at all. So this is the same scene from the previous OP, just redrawn to be old Novak. And that might be the same monk who was with him. I don't know. We charge through. Most of the rest is the same, but little bits and bobs are different. We follow those three characters. Follow these characters. The book. The cherry. That's Novak with the blade? Huh. Interesting. We have context for this scene now. I wonder if that will be Novak. No, that would be crazy. Poof. There's something in the contrast of this guy's growing terror and Oczy's resigned competence. Just you're gonna die, man. This is what I'm here for, and I'm really good at it. The fight itself, I think, is really cool, especially when it gets a little more detailed a moment later. I think it's really cool. It's some actual action animation in our show. Gotta say, Count Nastula is like a hybrid of Nasty and Dracula, and I don't think I've ever heard a better evil guy name. I might have to steal this and make Count Nastula in my fucking D&D campaign, because holy shit, dude! Who named you Count Nastula? That's baller. That's kind of badass. But if I lose, I'll die! I think we do a great job doing these little ripples around his eyes. Yes, yeah, you'll die. The world blurring up and out, losing the sense, the ability to fight. You know, his own perceptions are obscured by this. And then big smear forward. Yeah, really cool scene. Ooh, I like the little line, ding, that the tip makes. I'm really hoping that we see a good bit more of this, because I think that's really cool. I like the following, like light beams and stuff. Like this one for this strike, it ends up being much longer than the sword, and so it looks a little bit weird on its frame, but watching it through, ching ching, boom, it looks perfect. It looks perfect in motion. There's also a chaotic nature to the way that we switch shots. We're sort of here, build up the motion and cut through, and then it cuts through and bam, 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 bam. Super fast exchange. It feels really tense. Gotcha. Dodges out of the way. And there's something in this motion, like anticipation, 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 and then a full one frame, huge movement. Bam. And then his face falls, and the dagger comes out, the sword breaker. Sword breaker. Sorry, there are a bunch of videos about that exact implement, which is sold as sword breakers, and we call them the sword breakers, but they probably wouldn't have ever been able to break swords. However, to catch swords, possible. To catch swords and throw them away, possible. It was kind of fun. But somewhere in the realm of, like, the pair of anguish, this is kind of not real. Well, he disarms him. I don't want to die. I'll pay you. Murder is a terrible sin. You don't really want to do this. But this is my job, with just sadness in his face. This is a fate I wouldn't wish on anybody. Sorry, not the guy being killed, though. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, too. Having to be the killer. And yet I'm sure it's not the only way he could survive. At some level, there's a choice to do this, and to keep doing it. Maybe we'll find out later that there's some circumstance that absolutely forces Oczy to be this guy. But I doubt it. And I think that that stems in some ways from the viewpoint, from the idea that the whole world is ugly and dirty and bad. And so if you find yourself in a location that's ugly and dirty and bad, guess what, kid? That's what you deserve, and that's all you're ever gonna get, so stop looking up at the stars. Think a little lower. Maybe you could be an assassin murderer guy. Wouldn't that be great? Fuck that, man. Like, I get it, everybody's gotta work, everybody's gotta do something, but I doubt that you actually have to do that. I bet you could make some kind of personal sacrifice in order to change that fate. But not if you don't believe that anything matters. Why would you strive for better if shit is all you're gonna get? Why would you work harder if shit is all you're gonna get? Even if you make more money, it's all suffering all the way down, all pain and bullshit. No point. No point at all. Okay. I just realized that this is... Oh, fuck. This is not dissimilar to the mental state of, like, probably millions of young men right now. There's no point. This world is shit. Everything is garbage. Everyone is extracting as much as they can from everybody else all the time without care for each other. I have to do the same. I have to. Otherwise, I'm dead, right? Everybody's got to work. And the only jobs that are workable are ones where you're stealing or scamming or extracting wealth from other people. So I'll just contribute to that. I'll just add more blood to the pile, add more evil to the world, and it doesn't matter. Why would it matter? I'm not responsible for the darkness of the world. It's already dark. And I wouldn't be able to bring light into the world anyway. I don't have any light. I'm useless. Oh God. Oh God, that is close to what people really believe. Oh no. Oh no! Uh-oh. Oh my God. It's not that hard to make a completely hopeless, willingly destructive generation. And one of the only things that they need is the belief that it's meaningless and that it's all going to end. And we've got, global catastrophe threats that make that the case, that make that true. And in face of them, you kind of have two options. It's like fight against it or give up, become a part of it, survive as long as you can. Like, if you're 20 right now and you believe the world is going to full end in 60 years and nobody's going to be able to do anything about it. Oh. It removes the crucial element of the prisoner's dilemma that allows cooperation. Okay, we gotta back up for a second. You know what the prisoner's dilemma is? If we work together, both of us gets a medium reward. If I lie and you try to cooperate, I get a big reward and you get nothing. If we both lie, we both get tiny rewards. So the optimal solution is for us to work together over and over and over and over again, because then we'll both get the maximum that we possibly could. But if I think that you're going to try to cooperate, I could benefit more in the short term by not cooperating with you, by defecting, and then I get more in the short term. The only reason that I wouldn't do that is because we have to play the game again. We have to play it again. And if I defect this time, you'll defect next time. So I don't want you to defect. Then we both lose. Then I'll get 0. So I'll cooperate with you. And you'll do the same. So we cooperate. And then next round we cooperate. And the next round we cooperate. And the next round we cooperate. And next round we cooperate. And we keep going. But if I don't believe there will be a next round, or I believe there will be 50 rounds until we're done, 50 years, 70 years, whatever, and then, the hurricanes come and the world is too hot and nobody can breathe and everything's bad, great. Why would I cooperate with you? You don't have the chance to punish me for my lack of cooperation. I get my points and I run away happy and then we all die. So if the world is already going to end, why would I cooperate with you? Why would anyone cooperate with each other? Why would we ever try to make anything better? Why would you do anything except what maximizes your profit in the short term? You wouldn't. It's not reasonable. It's not rational to try in an ending world to save the world. Or to, plant trees for the future, right? That's sort of where we started, was this, okay, you're going to plant trees for future generations to sit on. Guess what? There are not going to be any future generations. Your work is pointless. Oh, well, I'm not going to plant those fucking trees then. I'm going to go get mine right now while I can. I'm going to go cut down trees and I'm going to burn them for warmth and survive. Oh no. The belief that it's hopeless really, really has an impact. Oh no. I don't want to get too stuck on this, but that was a little mental rock for me and a realization that this is applicable right now. Mostly this mental state, this position that Oczy is in of, despair, ongoing melancholy. Gosh, isn't that familiar? The malaise. Huh. Burn in hell. Gets to him a little bit. Enough that he actually asks about it. Do you think he went to heaven? I'm worried. He's seen many die, and not one of them seemed satisfied. Not one of them was like, oh, thank goodness, I'm going to heaven. It was all terror. As if they saw the entrance to hell or something worse. Nothing. What if it was nothing? Could it be? Maybe only a handful? Maybe it's not as generous as we've been taught? Maybe forgiveness isn't as easy to get as we've been told? Doesn't affect him. He's solid in his belief. Grass is. He's solid in his belief for now. What do you like best? It's inappropriate to like anything about this corrupt realm. Can we hear the voice actor here? Self-denial, yeah? But it's not quite, because he actually hasn't experienced anything that he actually loves, except for the sky. He did care about that once, but that's in the distant past, yeah? It doesn't jump to my mind when Grass asks the question. It doesn't seem like the right answer, although it fits. It's inappropriate to like anything about this corrupt realm. Truly like a veil over the eyes, like a lens. You can't allow himself to be attached to anything here. All of it is fickle, all of it's false, all of it's evil, even if it's good. And that means you can't see the good in anything? It's all corruption, it's all the devil's playground. There's no good in this world? None? Oh, then why strive for good in this world? You don't. You don't. It's not your responsibility. But there's something about the phrase. It's like a child caught by a teacher or a parent. Something like that. Reciting the lines that they know will get the response that they want, or they believe will, but not actually believing them. Because he does like something in this world. He sees beauty in it. But now he's closed himself off to that beauty, looked away from the sky, drawn a veil consciously over his own sight. That's not true. Enjoyment can't be bad. The church might disagree. With nothing to look forward to, our souls plunge instantly into darkness. I'm with him. The world rotates around them in this moment. Love, hope, and dreams should never be cast aside. Big ideas. Ideals that we'll never reach, yeah? But we can approximate, we can approach. I guess, but this is not true, right? This is not not what he believes. He's just appeasing. Yes, okay, I'll totally rethink my outlook. It'll be fine. Oh, okay, whoa. I didn't mean to freak you out, man. What do you really think? My opinion doesn't matter. Again and again, it's just I'm worthless, man. What's the point? Don't hold back. Maybe you should hold back, man. Comes through gritted teeth. He's been holding this on for so fucking long because you're not allowed to speak in this world. You can't say these things. Expectations are bound to be betrayed. Okay, this is really powerful stuff. If you expect less, you'll be less likely to be disappointed. You'll be less hurt if you give up from the very beginning. Man, that's even stronger. Give up completely. Stop desiring. And, you know, there's a frame where I agree to some extent. Desires are the root of the suffering of not getting what you desire, yeah? Those attachments really do destroy you. But that doesn't mean giving up everything. I guess in some senses it does. Doesn't mean giving up on yourself. What's interesting is that this is true and I think useful on a much smaller scale, like way smaller scale where you're not using it to apply to your entire fucking lifespan and giving up on everything. But the way that we set expectations does dramatically alter the way that we experience things. And one of my favorite little mini tricks for making life more fun, better, more beautiful, more enjoyable, is to lower your expectations for things, especially in speech, in the way that you speak and think about stuff. So, let's say you've got a concert that you're going to and you're pretty excited about it. You're seeing a band that you want to go see and it's an exciting thing. How do you frame it in your own mind so that you have the best chances of enjoying it? Oh my god, I can't wait. I'm going to the biggest, best concert that I'm ever going to see. Nothing I've ever seen has ever been worth this. I paid so much money for these tickets and we got the best seats in the house. I can't wait. Everything about tonight is going to be perfect. And then it's fine. It's a good concert, but it doesn't, it's not perfect. It's not the best thing you've ever been to. It's not like, oh my god, wow. Why? Well, you set your expectations really fucking high. And if you'd set them a little lower, not like, oh, this concert's gonna suck. You're not lying to yourself. That's not helpful. Just like, I'm really excited to see this concert. I hope it's gonna be good. and go in with kind of a blanker slate. Let your impression be formed by the actual thing, and don't build it up in your head. If you don't build it up, there's no letdown. And if you stay at a baseline and it ends up being spectacular, that doesn't just confirm what you had expected, meaning you get basically 0 out of it, but it instead exceeds your expectations and you get to be overjoyed about the thing. This is especially powerful when it's not tricking yourself or like enacted upon yourself, but instead enacted upon somebody else. Let me ask you if you've ever had this happen. Somebody goes, "Oh my God, you gotta see this YouTube video. It's like the craziest, funniest thing. I love it. It's like the best thing ever." And they show it to you and it's like, fine. Yeah, that was kind of funny. But they built it up so much that what the actual experience is kind of a fucking letdown. It's like, okay, man, why'd you build it up so much? Now I was expecting like some really mind-altering stuff, and this is some stand-up comedy. It's like, fine. What could you have done differently? Hey, I really like this video. Do you think it's cool? Just don't give that information. Don't build it up. It's like, you might like this. Maybe it'll be great. Maybe it'll be interesting. You know, you find a band, and you go to your friend, and you're like, I found the best band ever. It's gonna blow your mind, bro. And then it doesn't completely blow their mind. And you're like, it's fine. But if you go to them, you're like, hey, I found this new band. I'm not really sure what I think of their sound yet. What do you think? You've got a much better opportunity for them to actually enjoy the thing because they're not holding it up against this on high expectation. But if you take it too far, all you end up doing is giving up and still being hurt. He hasn't avoided pain. He's avoided caring. And he still hurts. Because now he has the hurt of not caring about anything, not being connected to anything, and not having any hope. Great. Great trade-off. Yippee. Wow. Or rather, nothing enjoyable ever happens in life anyway. Hi, Thorfinn. Not one good thing has ever happened to me, yeah? A select few are born with the privilege to be happy. And if you aren't chosen, even trying is useless and ill-fated and going to destroy you because you're striving for something you're never going to achieve. And then it starts to glow. We go into this deep darkness in the backgrounds, and then they start to glow as he emerges with an idea. Even trying is useless. Our world is sick and his eyes open, and now it's as though he's taken on the role of the priest who is standing before the pillar of light and speaking. Now he's the one taking that role. Now he's taking that position. And that's why our only hope is in heaven. This world is hopeless. We look to the future, and now we can just bring back up the quote that I read. Heaven is wonderful. By definition, it's better than here. I want to go. I want to go now. That's where this leads, right? If everything in this world is fully fucking hopeless and there's no improvement and it's all bad and you're not one of the select chosen few, please, God, let me die now. This seems like a bad way of seeing the world if it makes you want to be dead. Because it makes you think that the whole universe is meaningless. It's like, bad. That's bad. That's anti-human. That's anti-life, man. That's bad. I want to go now to the transcendent beyond where there is no suffering. Oh, did you hear all that? Oh, just kidding. Yeah. In other words, because there's nothing perfect or eternal here, Grass says, you can't trust anything. This is really, really interesting, because it's not exactly what he said, but it's close enough. It's close enough to work as a frame, but it's not exactly what he said. It's not just that, like, nothing is perfect or eternal here, it's that everything here is shit. Our world is sick. Nothing is enjoyable. Expectations will always be betrayed. So if you expect good things from the world, it's gonna be bad. No, well, in truth, I was just like you. I was also lost, and now I have been found. And I found truth. I found something transcendent. I found something worth hope. Then I found it. There's a phrase in addiction therapy that I find really interesting and really valuable. You can't be sober for someone else. It has obviously nothing to do with this, but I'm going to make a connection. You can't be sober for someone else. No matter how much you want to, you can't do that thing for them. You can't hold those beliefs and take those actions for somebody else. I think you also can't be inspired for somebody else, right? You can pass the information that inspired you on to them, but you can't reformulate their mind so that they see it the same way you do. You can't be inspired by somebody else, and yet we try all the time. Somebody talks to you and they're sad or deeply depressed or completely suicidal, and you go, oh, but look at all the things worth living for. From your perspective, you can have that excitement and that will to live, but you can't have it for somebody else. You can't be inspired for somebody else. That's the sense that I get here, is that Grass is trying to show Oczy, like, here are the things that are worth being inspired by, man. And it doesn't really land because it's what inspires him. And it's interconnected with, like, his beliefs about his family and all these things that make it like a eureka moment or a vision for him, and he sees into the future through that, and like, wow, he's the majesty of the stars and all that shit. But Oxy's eyes are still on the ground and still veiled over, and you can't see for him. You can't hear for him. You can't experience life and be inspired for him. That's the feeling that I get. And it's something that's near and dear to me because, like, I'm deeply inspired by anime. Like, I'm inspired by all sorts of things in our world, and yet I cannot be inspired for someone else. All I can do is, like, play out the inspiration and live my life through it and do what I can of that in a public way that gets archived and saved. And that's, like, the best that I've come to. Maybe it'll work a little bit, but it's not, it doesn't get there. Yeah, it doesn't get all the way there. Spreading inspiration, touching one torch to another it's hard. Something worthy of absolute hope. You want to know? Nah. It's okay, you can pretend. Oh, yeah. Hey, those guys, they're assassins. Yeah, Hitokoroshi. Come on, buddy. Wine! Hey. You're not allowed here. So they're not nobles, but they are allowed in certain places where only nobles are allowed. There's some station to their guild. I really thought, just because we were introduced to Grass with a sword in his hand, you know, pushing Oxy up the hill, I really thought he was gonna sort of snap here and snap back at the guy. Total opposite. This tavern is also open. No, you gotta be more direct. By completely apologizing for being born. It weaves into every element of his behavior, is like, oh god, I'm useless, please don't look at me. Everyone's kind of disgusted by it. See? If you apologize sincerely, they'll forgive you. It seems more like they're just annoyed by you, like turned off by your weird behavior. But he's still internalized that. It still works for him. It's interesting. We were talking about the hope I found. Woof. The book. My Observations of Mars. And the book is in the OP. I really like this slow, long exposure. Some of the stars move. And this one moves through a perfectly circular path without fail. Thrilled. Exciting. Nothing's as consistent as this. It's true perfection. Sure, this world might be corrupt and disorderly, but look at the sky, it's perfect. And we can still gaze at that, like we have a window to it. And that means it's not all bad here, right? Because if it was all bad and corrupt, why would we have a window to the sky? Humankind can recognize perfect things. We have the best seats in the house. And so humankind and the earth aren't so bad, really. Huh. Just that one little thing is enough to inspire and completely change him. And soon it will complete its whole circle. Okay. I gotta do some research. Oh, that's what retrograde means. I need a paper. Okay. So, soul Earth. So Earth, we're orbiting, orbiting, orbiting. And then this is Mars. So it's going around, and we're going around faster, because the Earth moves around the sun faster. How long is... Mars is, what, 26 months? 687 days, so 1.88 years. Okay, so every time it goes around the sun once, we go around mostly twice. So 26 months is, I think, the correct number. So we're going, we're going, we're going. Mars is going, Mars is going, Mars is going. And if we're tracking it from our position anywhere in through here, it looks like it goes in a perfect circle, except when we're over here and it's over here too, and we pass by it because we're moving faster than it is. Then, you know, usually throughout our cycle, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in terms of like these are where it looks like it is in every month. But as we pass by it and lap it here as we're running around the track, it goes 1 and then it looks like it's from 12 because we look at it here where it's like, okay, it's at 1, it's going to be at 2 next, and we'll connect the dots, but instead we move past it faster than it moves, and so we lap it and we look at it from here, and it backscatters against the constellations of stars that are over this way instead of the ones that are over this way or over this way. And so instead of seeing it reach 2, which we expect, it zigzags and moves backward and goes back to 12. But as we move further around, like we'll get to month 3 or month 4 on our orbit, and it will hit like 2 or 3 actually, and then it all cycles again and looks like it's moving in a perfect circle again. Okay, I figured out what retrograde means. I didn't know that. I've only ever heard like, oh, Mars is in retrograde in like garbage astrology terms. So to connect it makes perfect sense. That's fucking cool. That's a pretty big stretch. That's a pretty big stretch. He says it must take a lot of will. Perfect circular path of Mars. Oh, you ignorant peasants. Nothing you say will change how I feel. Laugh all you want. Feel free to enjoy yourselves. However, you did choose the wrong time to begin observation. So the knowledge that Mars goes into retrograde is known. At least it's known by this guy. You chose the wrong time. Because if you had chosen 2 months after retrograde to start beginning, over the next 12 months, you would see Mars complete like half of its orbit. And you would be able to see most of the rest of the orbit after that, too. But once you get up to that retrograde part, it fucks everything up. It looks wrong. Ha, ha, ha. Interesting. So this guy knows it. Otherwise, you would have noticed sooner. I wonder what he believes is the reason for that. Like in a Earth-centric worldview, how's that explained? How are the planet movements explained in general? Wow. Also, they believe there are as many as 5 planets. I want to look up which planets were discovered first. I'm sure that the fucking, like, I don't know, that the Muslim world figured it out way before these people did, or that the Greeks already had figured it out. Okay, the 5 that are visible to the naked eye are Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. That's interesting. I believe it's either Mercury or Venus that is like a real unlocking key to the belief that the sun is at the center, because we can literally see it pass over the sun. You can see it mini eclipse, you know? And we can watch it phase as it goes around the sun as well. Interesting. Yeah, we're right up at 2 years. So we're right there at 24, 25 months. We're getting there. Right at the point where it would go into retrograde and throw everything into question. That kind of a question where things don't line up with what should make perfect sense. That's where we find answers. And, and that's also where we could go, I don't fucking know. We just believe what we do and we ignore the stuff that contradicts it. I don't know. Huh. It can't be! and it's looped back. They were slower. Why? Because we're moving. We're catching up to it, right? Really, like, it's like cars on a racetrack or runners. We're catching up to it. They're moving slower in relation to us, and then we will pass them, and that means they look like they're going backward for a time, and then we'll get far enough away that they look like they're still going in a direction again. Wow. Oh, wow. But today, Mars went completely still. Why? Why? The casual cruelty of the other duelists just cements, like, you're one of these people and you are not one of these people, man. You're not meant for this. This is not right. He's so different from them. The problem is his optimism. His whole family died of plague. He lost all hope and tried to end his own life, but he failed to die. The church forgave him for that sin, for failing to die. That's interesting. But he regretted it. Is this really my fate? But then he grew cheerful. The stars are a message from my family in heaven. Unstable people are unpredictable, and unpredictability is dangerous. Shaking. It bent in the opposite direction. It's hideously deformed. It doesn't follow geometric perfection. It's not one unifying rule. It doesn't make sense. It's not rational. Poor guy. Is this really my fate? Almost as though the fact that the world is not beautiful is his sentence to bear. I really like this scene. It's just a lovely color on all the walls. Yeah, I like it. Maybe it's a mistake to expect something from this world rather than heaven. Wow. Better be careful. Damian! Hello. This guy's got quite a smile. We don't ever find out his name, do we? And then Novak. I wonder what he's reading. The men from the watch are here. Do Oczyk. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna translatify. Translate to father. Oh, it's a note from his daughter. Can I read any of the other words? Dziki? Preskidger? Roniet? Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with a no. Sorry, Polish people. Hey, Polish people. I know there are a few of you in here. That note say anything interesting? We'll find out later. What are you looking at? A charm. God damn, it's so cool to have Novak still here. Aren't you interested in the night sky? Oh, we're not allowed to speak with you, he says, speaking with him and breaking his own rule. Please remain quiet. Yeah, what are you gonna fucking do if I don't? This is a fun reversal of power. It reminds me of Rafal at the end, taking the power back from Novak by deciding on his own fate. What are you gonna do? Kill me? No, I pity you too much. Why defy the church that brings you salvation? Why would you give up your place in heaven? Same line asked to Rafal. Same line asked to Hubert by Rafal, right? I mean, execution is unavoidable, but you can still recant. Oh, yes, sure. Maybe it should be you who reconsiders. This church that you put all your faith in, what does it really bring you? This heaven that they tell you is up there somewhere, invisible to you, does it really exist? You're living your whole life for it, so it's kind of an important question. Does it really exist? There's a magic invisible island out there in the Pacific Ocean where people live forever and have all the sex they can have, and fruit grows abundantly on the trees, and there's nothing to do but cavort and frolic in the spray and fields and enjoy existence to its maximum. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And if you dedicate your entire life to my company, then I promise you that upon your death, I will, with no proof, take you to that place and reinstantiate your body on my magic Pacific Island. Would you like to sign up to be a slave for the rest of your life so that you can get to heaven? Sure, totally. Yeah, love it. No proof? Say less. I'm in. And what if it doesn't fucking exist? Oh, a heretic would never understand. Yeah, and do you? You all turn blindly to heaven to escape hopelessness. Faced by a world that is actually ugly and dark and full of terror, because it is. And it's hard to see the beauty through that. It's a struggle. Even if you believe it's possible, it's still a struggle. There's still pain. There's still finitude. There's still great injustice. But instead of looking for that in the reality of the world, we invent it. Maybe we need to in order to have hope, I'm a fan of stories. I'm a fan of inventing fictional worlds so that we can cope with reality. I'm a big fan. But keeping them in fiction is really important. You can still escape hopelessness that way. And you can escape hopelessness if you believe that they are dreams for the future that may yet come to pass. Not just a fiction, not just somewhere else, but here. That's how I escape my hopelessness, is by looking at it as an ongoing process, right? It's not over today. When I go to sleep tonight, my life doesn't end. The world doesn't end. Even if my life did end, the world wouldn't. Everything that I've done within it will continue on in many, many tiny ways. But we invent hopelessness instead and pour our energy. We invent an escape instead and pour our energy into a fiction. It's just a loss of energy. It's just a sink. Oh, we know. You're just trying to push us toward despair. Yeah, why, though? Oh, because he's an evil heretic. Right. That makes sense. No. You are the ones pushing despair away. I just want to mention, these close-ups on his teeth and mouth are really fun. The thin lips and the jagged teeth, right? They're not little chiclets. They're old man teeth that have been torn up and stuff. But not rotten. This is actually kind of cool. It's neat. Tooth rot really didn't exist the way that it does in modernity. We didn't have refined sugar in the same way. Or even processed flour in the same way, like rich white flour. Not gonna have that. People had much better tooth health in general. No dentistry for the most part, not the way that we think of modern dentistry, but no toothbrushes, no toothpaste, maybe toothbrushes, not plastic ones, but you'd still have your teeth, but they'd just be worn down from using them and eating sand and eating the bits of rock that get into the grain that's ground. Those would erode away the teeth. But they'd still be there and white and shiny. I think it's cool. The philosophy of today was born when Socrates killed himself. The religion of today grew from grief over a young man's crucifixion 1,500 years ago. It's an interesting way to frame it. Humankind, like the phoenix, is known to produce new hope from the ashes of tragedy. And so by avoiding tragedy, we avoid growth. Ooh. Temporary relief from pain will never change reality, but suffering, primal suffering, seething frustration, and despair, those are the alchemical ingredients of hope. Profound idea. But instead you wall off the despair and turn to this third-hand guarantee, so hope will never smile upon you. You've closed yourself off to its base ingredients. Without despair, you can't achieve hope. You have nothing to struggle against. And grass pulls the you-know-nothing. Don't fall for his trap. I know why you fear us. It's not because you don't understand. I think this is right on. It's because you know. It's because you do not believe. You don't speak for me! And then he just says it with no framing, no what you believe, what I believe. He says, in fact, the truth is, death is the end. There is no heaven. Don't you think so? No. Well, I get it. It's hard to lose what's been promised to you, even if it was a false promise in the first place. But you know all humankind should confront that possibility. the possibility that heaven doesn't exist. Now we have two swords drawn, both pointed at, like, a monster. Like, he's gonna leap out and there's something terrifying here. Worse, you ignore title drop, the fact that this world is far more beautiful than heaven. Well, you can't even see heaven, can you? How could it equate to even the grossest and shittiest part of reality? This shit's real. Can you fucking believe that? Can you believe that this is real? Talk about absurd. Can you believe it? This is real. There are an uncountable number of stars in the sky, and on one of them, in some quadrant of some relatively mediocre galaxy, a strange process began that has been continuing for millions of years, that has led to more and more complicated things that emerge, exist, and fall apart, and yet another one emerges after that, and exists and falls apart, and then another one emerges after that. And if you looked at any one moment, you might think that there's a continuity there, and there is, but not a direct continuity, not the way that a rock is still a rock 1,000 years later. And we, those creatures, those things that exist and then fall apart, and then exist and then fall apart, that copy ourselves down into the future and change and grow as we do, are able to turn ourselves, our strange sensory apparatuses, our light sensors and our vibration detectors and our heat sensors, to the sky and feel the warmth of the sun on our skin, a star that's 8 light minutes away. Can you fucking believe that? Far more beautiful than heaven, eh? I agree. You want to believe it too, don't you? That this world is a wonderful place worth living on. I do. I do believe it. But I'll admit that a part of that believing comes from the wanting to believe. Maybe even the needing to believe. It's hard sometimes, and I said it a little while ago, but there is actually shit and dirt and despair and death and pain and injustice. And those things make it much harder to believe. And yet, if from their suffering can be born hope, has been born hope over and over and over again, in the rebirth of each creature that carries on the legacy of the previous, maybe it could be more beautiful than this ideal, simply because it's real. Ridiculous, rambling, it's nothing. Oh no, I've got evidence. It's right up there on the mountain. All the evidence in a stone chest. And now I've put you in a position. You've been given the momentary chance to change your own lives, to move your world. Self-denial or self-affirmation? The translated words that they've chosen are interesting. Life-affirming is a Nietzschean phrase. We've brought him up a couple of times. And he used it directly in context with Christianity, where life-affirming is embracing life in all of its suffering, all of its joy, all of its possibility, and its end. And life-denying is rejecting or devaluing our earthly life in favor of a different or better existence, like the religious afterlife. Literally denying your own existence for a future one. Comfort. Risk. Ooh, is this a Matrix reference? Just the eyes? Gosh, it's really close. Let me show you. Just this particular scene where he, like, begins to reach out. And then we show the two versions of him, and one of them is reaching forward, and the other one, because of the angle, he's not. He's not even reaching forward at all, right? Yeah, it's very reminiscent to me. I don't know if it's intentional. I just caught it. I was like, whoa, the reflections in the eyes and stuff. That really reminds me of Morpheus. You know, he turned his eyes into these big shiny discs. And we've got the two characters in front of them. It feels really similar. It's cool. Whoosh, grass is decided. Please. And we end the episode there. Ah! Okay, I have 2 hours and 27 minutes on the recording, so we are absolutely going to call it here. In part because this was fucking powerful. We got introduced to characters, new OP visuals, cool ideas being presented, a new framework for the world coming from Oczy compared to Rafal. Totally different. Rafal views the world as somewhere he can survive and thrive, right? He just has to say the right things, do the right things. In some ways, probably Oczy would view him as one of the chosen few, right? He's had all these great things happen to him, and what he does in the world seems to work out well for him. And then he gets completely upset, and his world gets turned upside down and destroyed by heliocentrism, by the idea that there's truth in the heavens that transcends rationalism on Earth, right? Like the right thing to do. But here we've got people who are living in despair, hoping desperately for some beacon to follow, some torch to carry. And it's been delivered to them by a creepy heretic with a necklace. Where will they go from here? We know they'll go up the mountain. We know they'll find the chest. But from thence? I struggle to think of a character who lives their life with such drudgery, almost zombie-like, and has such a hopeless attitude as what we've learned and heard from Oczy. It puts him in a pretty perfect space for hope to be beautiful to him. Much in the same way that starting an isekai or a journey of self-discovery with a character who's kind of a piece of shit is sometimes the best place to start because they have the furthest to go. Having somebody who's ideal, like the best idea that Oczy comes to is that it's all fucking useless and so it doesn't matter, and that's the best he comes to when like everything's shining around him and he's telling us all about it. The only hope is in heaven. Heaven is wonderful. I want to go now. Like straight up to directly suicidal in the moment. And at the same time, I find myself shocked to realize that I've met more than a few young men who are way closer to this than I would like. And I'm now compelled to try to change that. I don't know how. Because I can't be inspired for somebody else, right? But I'm compelled to try to put some effort into this. Because each of those people is a universe of perspective, and so many of those universes are laden down with pain and hopelessness. I wonder where we can build hope. I wonder what foundational bricks might be necessary to build a structure that points in the direction of a hopeful future. I don't know yet. I think that maybe works like this one, like Orb, are pieces of the foundation. I hope so. I look forward to seeing what we build on top of them as we move forward through the show. Thanks for watching the episode, everybody. I am going to wrap here. I appreciate you. I hope you liked the episode. I hope it made you think. I hope that the future ones are going to be cool. And I hope to catch you next week for the next one. Much love. Peace.